Thanks for joining us. I'm Beverly Thompson. A new report from the Economist newspaper says that 3 Canadian cities are among the world's best places to live. Calgary placed 4th, Vancouver was 6th, and Toronto was 7th out of 140 cities around the world. For more on this, let's bring in Robert Wood from the Economist Intelligence Unit. He helped compile the report, and he's in New York. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
So tell me a little bit about the criteria and how these cities make the list.
That's right. So we look at 140 cities in developed countries and emerging markets, and we look at 30 indicators across 5 broad categories: stability, that includes crime, unrest, threat of terrorism; healthcare, availability of public and private healthcare; education, culture and environment; and infrastructure.
And in terms of, when we talk about Toronto and Vancouver, of course, and we hear most livable cities, and a lot of people think right away, gosh, but real estate is so expensive. So that isn't, I guess, a big weighty factor in this.
Sure. So that's, one of the indicators that we look at in the infrastructure category is indeed the availability of good quality housing. And looking at the findings, we do see that with the house price boom in those cities in Canada, that does weigh slightly on the score for those cities, but they score so well in the other categories that that's why they find themselves 3 in the top 10, and also Montreal in 19th position, doing very well indeed.
So tell me a little bit about the top spot going to Vienna.
That's right, yeah. Well, this is the first time in this survey that's been running now for 10 years, and we update the scores and do a report once a year, that Vienna's finally managed to push its way ahead of Melbourne. And that's really been as a result of improvements in stability, in the stability category, for not just Vienna, but across Western Europe. And that has enabled Vienna to get across the line, get to the coveted first place in this index.
So it's also interesting that in the study it points out that sometimes the success of a city can actually work against it.
Yeah, that's right. So, a lot of the big cities, for example, New York, where we have offices here, where I'm speaking to you from right now, to a certain extent, they're victims of their own success. And we find in some of the categories, particularly in infrastructure, but also in education and stability, in the case of New York, that they don't score that well, partly because infrastructure particularly gets stretched with so many people in a very highly dense cities such as New York and other large cities. However, Tokyo, that stands out in the top 10, that is equal 7th in the index. So, they've managed to do a good job there in terms of infrastructure. But that's certainly one of the challenges that that the big cities face, these global cities. And what the survey finds is that mid-sized cities in wealthier countries have a higher livability score and ranking.
Interesting list, and great to talk to you about it, Robert. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.